we're going to do a quick unboxing of the Ready Set Bet High Roller Edition. Surprisingly, not being talked about very much right now, but I guess I'll just do a quick video for those who are interested in seeing what the contents look like. So you got a giant box, which I don't think most people didn't like the fact that the box was this big, but what can you do? They had a giant playmat in there. What else are you gonna do? Fold it? You don't want to do that. The flap comes off with a magnetic connection. You can see there's nothing in the box right now because I've already taken everything out. The inside surface has a layout diagram of how to put everything back in place if you need to know. But that's pretty much it. Let's slide right over to the foam. The big piece, that's where the playmat went. I found out they rolled the playmat a bit too tight. I had to unroll it a few times just to like undo some of the minor creases that was starting to build up. That area there, I don't remember what was there. The cards go in the slots here. They have the extra pieces of foam in case you have used sleeves. If you have, you can get rid of the extra foams there. And then these extra slots are if you had purchased the additional add-ons, which I didn't want to do because I probably won't play this game much. The 2 casino dice, they are made of the acetate, whatever it's called. They are very transparent, as you can see. The dots are very visible. It's a square cut, sharp edges. I don't foresee myself using these because one, they're too big for my hands, and I prefer rounded dice because they roll a lot more. I also noticed just by eyeballing that these cubes are not actually perfect cubes. Some of the dimensions are a little off. I mean, meaning like one side is longer than the other, so it's a bit of a disappointment there. So I'm going to keep them in the box. The arrows are in there, as you can probably tell. The house bets are in here. They're actually more than just a piece of L. They're actually a whole acrylic square. The bottom slot there was for all the poker chips and player tokens, which you'll see in a bit. Now let's get this box away. Let's go with the mat first. Now this mat is ginormous, so I won't be able to show you all of it in one shot. I'm just going to show you the top portion first, and then we can show you the rest of it afterwards. So you get your logo there, fancy. The arrows go there, the prop bets go there. The prop bets go in these 5 slots here. They are bigger, just for easier visibility. The spaces for you to place on the color bets, they're also bigger. They didn't have to be, but I guess it fills up the space very well. Let me adjust this now. So all the extra graphics make everything look all fancy. The board, I remember on the retail copy was a green, and now it's more bluish, more of a turquoise, which I prefer a lot more. The exotic bet slots are all they're a lot bigger than before because they had switched over to a tarot card as opposed to using the standard card. Now, if you're curious, the dimensions for the playmat measured 122 centimeters in length, and I believe it measured about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it was about 70 to 80 centimeters in width. I'll post the actual dimensions on the screen. And as for the box, if we're curious, measures 71 centimeters in length, about 30.5 centimeters in height, and the width of the box was about 10 centimeters. So here's everything inside the box. I decided to put it into a IKEA Samla box because I figured I'm going to transport this instead of transporting the massive cardboard box, which is one limited edition. So if that gets banged up from travels, then it's going to be worth a little less every time. So I'm not going to do that. Dice tray, dice. I'm using my own because I bought that with the retail copy when I owned the retail copy. Rulebook looks to be about the same as the original one as far as I remember, minus the High Roller Edition print that's on the cover. But other than that, I think it's identical content-wise. Okay, this is new. Player color. So there's 8 cards, and I'm guessing the idea is that you shuffle it and hand one out to everyone, or you use it as a reminder for whoever's playing as the banker. When they deal money back out to people who win, they can refer back to these face-up cards on the table, so it's quicker than just asking people all the time. The prop bets. These are also standard card now. The retail copy used mini Euro size, which was hard to read for people who were not near that edge of the board. So having them in standard size makes that a lot better. The bigger card means you can have bigger print. Bigger print means easier visibility or easier readability. That dark green on the back of the card, by the way, I like that a lot more because the retail copy looks more like the green that's seen on the dice trailer. VIP cards. So these have been sized up quite a bit, as you can see. These are US Tarot size, which I've also sleeved. They look quite lovely. I don't remember them having that same design on the retail, but the contents are the same. They used up more of the space, so now you have bigger cards, which do still the same things. I'm also just noticing now, I remember reading on Board Game Geek, someone had mentioned that they were planning to use linen cards or a linen finish on their cards, and sadly that never happened. These are all regular cardstock, which is a big disappointment considering the price tag we paid. Horse name card. I think this is new for this copy, but basically every horse has their own name if you want to refer to that as the person who's rolling the dice. If you're not creative enough and you don't want to use your own names, you can just use what's on that card there. Exotic bets. Now this part makes sense. Like, the reason why the cards have to be bigger is because you now have betting chips that are the size of poker chips now, as opposed to the little cardboard tokens from before. Yeah, you're gonna need to have more space to actually put the chips down. They also, you can see that they kind of arrange it in a way where the people who bet on it will have their chips kind of stack on top of each other in a cascading way. So it might cause a bit of a mess, but it's necessary that the cards are that big. Now let's crack open the chips and see how they look. Now these poker chips, I don't have a lot of experience with poker chips, but I used to own a generic set. The generic ones I used to own were the ones where they had fused plastic with clay, like a polymer clay. It's the one with the dice, the chips that have like the dice prints on it. Those were heavy, and those had a piece of metal, like a metal disc, as the inside, as a core, to give it artificial weight. I actually like that, even though it's considered cheap. These chips, however, are just 100% plastic. It's not as nice, in my opinion. As for the print, or I guess the graphics that are on the chip, some of it, like the yellow and the green, they look like a silk screen, but they're actually not. What you're looking at is just a graphic, not a graphic. It's a graphic that's on an adhesive stuck to the chip. Is it done well? It is done well. I don't see because these are circular. Usually, like, manufacturers who don't do a good job, usually you'll spot 1 or 2 chips that are slightly off center. But I haven't noticed that yet. I usually catch that stuff pretty quickly, but I didn't catch any of that, so that was done well. And now for the player tokens. These are made the same way as well, just solid plastic, with circular labels adhering to the chip itself. Yeah, they're done well. The labels actually have has a slight sheen on it. It looks like it's a bit metallic, so it's not just a flat image. Except for the black one. I think the black and white were more flat than the rest. But other than that, there's not much more to really speak on it. moving on to the house bet tokens. Now, it looks really fancy because it's an acrylic square. The retail copy used to be just an L-shaped piece of cardboard, which they would put on the edge of a betting space. But now that what they've done here is that they used a whole square of plastic as the betting chip for the house player. And they made it transparent so that you can still see the number that's on the board. Again, it looks shiny now, but I question how pretty it's going to look after enough uses, because these are made of acrylic, and if you don't know, acrylic, although very durable, it is also very prone to scratching. Acrylic is a very soft plastic, so it's very easy for it to scratch. But hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't acrylic, and maybe like some sort of polycarbonate. Just gonna do a quick check to see what it looks like when it's on the board. The turquoise that's on the thing, that's on the house token, it's the exact same shade of turquoise that's on the on the game board. So it just almost blends right in. You can almost don't even notice it anymore. Let's see what these look like. The arrows. The when play show arrows. They are also made the same way. The graphics in the middle, and it's sandwiched with 2 pieces of acrylic on both sides. So the graphic is basically protected forever, but I just hope it'll hold up against scratches. But as we're putting it on the board, though, they don't pop like the text on the neoprene mat. They definitely don't pop as much. Let's finish off with the horse meeple mat. This is I think I like this the most. It's so gigantic. I don't know if I can fit all of this on my table. The horses, like, they just fit in my hand. Like I got pretty small hands, and it fits in most of my hand, which is actually quite nice to handle, as opposed to the retail version where the pieces were tiny little meeples. And one of the things I didn't like about the tiny little meeples was that the pieces were all white and just colored on the sides. So it was hard to distinguish which horse is which from a top view, like we're looking at now. So I appreciate the fact that they had actually printed a number on the top surface of every horse. So even if you're not standing from the side, you're standing at the back of the room, you can still see the numbers from the top. Now, although they could have done plastic as well with these horses, like the other pieces, I don't mind that they went with wood, but I'm a little let down that some of the pieces came in warped. As you can see, like these 2 pieces here, they're pretty square, like it's squared on one side and squared on another dimension. But if you look at this 2-3 horse here, it's it was cut at an angle, and they just kept it. And then they had sandwiched it in the packaging, and it looked like it had warped over time. So you can see you have this horse that doesn't stand perfectly straight. It still stands, but it's just like it's on an angle now, which looks really weird. Now I'm just gonna put these up. I'm just gonna put these up on the track just to see what it looks like mid race, and it looks quite nice. The presence is there. All the colors are. Or every horse is actually colored their own color, as opposed to being white with a print of their color. That's easier to distinguish apart which horse is which. Again, the number printed on the top helps identify which horse is which much more easily, which for me that's a big bonus to have.